Kazuya Mishima is synonymous with Tekken. Since the first game blessed arcades in 1994, I became a fan of the pointy-haired, red-gloved man with a scar on his chest. He was the game's main protagonist among the 8 playable characters. When Tekken was ported to the PlayStation in 1995, the image of him punching out a candle was burned into my young mind. So who is he, and what's his story? I'll try to explain as best I can. I'm Top Shelf Toy for Game Passionate. Kazuya is the son of Heihachi Mishima. Heihachi, a cruel and powerful man, was the leader of the military firm known as the Mishima Zaibatsu. A Zaibatsu, for those who may not know, is essentially a business conglomerate with a strict hierarchy. The first King of Iron Fist tournament was hosted by the Mishima Zaibatsu. Kazuya's childhood was full of harsh training with his father. Heihachi believed that if his son were to take over for him, he would have to be strong and without fear. So he dropped him off a cliff. Kazuya survived, obviously, and grew up to be a cruel and powerful man himself, in part due to his extreme training and in part due to his previously unknown devil gene. He won the first King of Iron Fist tournament, took over the Mishima Zaibatsu, and then dropped Heihachi off of a cliff to complete his revenge. Tekken 2 takes place 2 years after the events of the first tournament. Under Kazuya's rule, the Mishima Zaibatsu had become more powerful and intimidating than ever. The devil gene that resides in Kazuya had corrupted any pretense of good, and he acted without remorse, extorting businesses, assassinating rivals, and smuggling and experimenting on endangered species. Kazuya's father, Heihachi, did manage to survive the fall from the cliff that Kazuya threw him off. Heihachi had been using this time to train and plot on how he could retake his place as the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. The genetic experiments and smuggling of rare and endangered species put Kazuya on Jun Kazama's radar. She made plans to arrest him. In an effort to destroy all his rivals at once, Kazuya held the second King of Iron Fist tournament with another huge cash prize. During the tournament, Kazuya and Jun meet and were inexplicably drawn to one another. Jun was conflicted between her duty to arrest Kazuya and her wanting to help him overcome the evil within him. She dropped out of the tournament. Jun created an internal conflict in Kazuya, which weakened Devil's hold on him. She tried to prevent Kazuya from another battle between him and his father, but failed. During this fight, the devil gene took over Kazuya and caused him to fully transform. However, since Kazuya was still internally conflicted, he was unable to defeat Heihachi in the final. Heihachi took Kazuya's unconscious body and dropped him into a volcano, assuming that would finish him off once and for all. 20 years pass. In this time, Heihachi learned of a supernatural being known as Ogre and sought to trap it to use its powers as his own. Jun gave birth to and raised her and Kazuya's son, named Jin Kazama. Ogre attacked and presumably killed Jun, leaving the boy unconscious. When he awoke, Jin swore revenge and is branded by the devil gene on his left arm. Because of his mother's previous request, Jin sought out Heihachi and trained under him. The third King of Iron Fist tournament was held as a cover for Heihachi to try and gain Ogre's powers. Jin got revenge by defeating Ogre and winning the tournament. However, Jin was being used by Heihachi, and when he was of no further use, Heihachi had him gunned down. Firing the final shot himself. This caused the devil gene in Jin to activate and revive him. He smashed Heihachi through a wall and sprouted wings, flying off into the night as his grandfather watched. For 2 years after the third tournament, Heihachi tried and failed to blend Ogre's tissue samples with his own genome to gain immortality. Heihachi lacked the devil gene that Kazuya and Jin possessed. This was a problem since he'd thrown Kazuya into a volcano, and Jin hadn't been seen since Heihachi betrayed him. Eventually, Heihachi learns that Kazuya's body had been recovered and was being stored in the labs of the G Corporation, a biotech firm making advancements in biogenetic research. Heihachi sends the Mishima Zaibatsu soldiers, known as the Tekken Force, to raid G Corporation and recover Kazuya's remains. The Tekken Force troopers got decimated by Kazuya himself, who was revived by G Corporation days after his apparent death. In an effort to lure Kazuya and Jin out of hiding, Heihachi announces the 4th King of Iron Fist tournament and offers the control of the Mishima Zaibatsu as the grand prize. Kazuya and Jin enter and were scheduled to fight each other, but before they could, the Tekken Force ambushed and captured Jin. Kazuya and Heihachi face off against each other for the final battle of the tournament. Heihachi wins, but instead of killing Kazuya, he takes him to a hidden Mishima dojo called Hanmaru, deep in the woods. Jin was already held captive at Hanmaru, and Heihachi planned on taking both Jin and Kazuya's devil powers for himself. Devil took over Kazuya's body once again and revealed that when Kazuya was thrown into the volcano, Devil split itself in half and possessed Jin. Devil had always planned on reuniting itself and recovering its full power. Devil knocked out Heihachi and tormented and enraged Jin with images of Kazuya in Jin's unconscious mind. By this time, Kazuya had figured out how to assimilate his own entity with Devil's. This allowed Kazuya to take back control of his body, and he and Devil became a unified entity. When he called to Jin, Jin woke up with his devil powers activated and broke his chains. The two fought, and Jin ended up victorious. Heihachi regained consciousness and attempted to battle Jin as well. Heihachi also lost, and as Jin is about to deliver the killing blow, an image of his mother June makes him reconsider killing his grandfather. Jin spread his devil wings and once again flew off into the night, leaving Heihachi and Kazuya at Hanmaru. Tekken 5 starts up almost immediately after the events of Tekken 4. After Jin leaves Kazuya and Heihachi at Hanmaru, G Corporation helicopters flew in and started launching a bunch of Jack 4 robots into the dojo. Kazuya and Heihachi fought the Killer Jacks. but eventually Kazuya abandons his treacherous father when he sees an opportunity to do so. The Jacks dogpiled on Heihachi and one activated a detonator. This resulted in a huge explosion that presumably killed Heihachi. Raven, a mysterious ninja and new character to the series, was the only one to witness and relayed the news of Heihachi's death to his superiors. News about Heihachi's apparent death spread around the world, and it was assumed that the Mishima Zaibatsu would cease to exist. But it remained, and it was unknown who was in control of it. 2 months later, the 5th King of Iron Fist tournament was announced. During this tournament, Kazuya recognized Raven after watching him fly away that night. After Kazuya won his match against Raven, he interrogated him. Kazuya learned that G Corporation betrayed him and that something was awakened underneath Hanmaru. It's revealed that Kazuya's grandfather, Jinpachi, was being held captive after a coup some 40 years earlier. Jinpachi was possessed by a vengeful spirit that gave him a ridiculous amount of power. After the Jacks attacked Hanmaru, Jinpachi was able to break free. Eventually, Jin won the tournament and was able to defeat Jinpachi, who dissolved into dust and disappeared. This victory also made Jin the new head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. Tekken 6 begins 6 months after the events of Tekken 5. Jin is the new head of the Mishima Zaibatsu and the Zaibatsu Special Forces. Jin used the company's resources to declare independence and became a global superpower. He severed all national ties and declared war against every nation over the following year. Kazuya used this time to become the head of G Corporation, and he placed a bounty on Jin's head. In response, Jin announced the 6th King of Iron Fist tournament in an effort to draw Kazuya out. As war engulfs the world, the leader of the Tekken Force, Lars Alexanderson, rebels against the Zaibatsu. Shortly after, he loses his memory. Eventually, it's revealed that Lars is Heihachi's illegitimate son. Heihachi has been in hiding since his presumed demise and has also been trying to take back the Mishima Zaibatsu from Jin. Jin leaves for Egypt and Lars follows. In Egypt, Lars meets Zafina, who tells him about an ancient, world-destroying evil called Azazel. This evil is also the creator of the Devil Gene and is the physical embodiment of the spirit resonating in Jin's psyche. Kazuya and his half-brother Lars have a confrontation in front of the door leading to the ancient temple where Azazel was confined. Kazuya escapes, and Lars and Raven appear to defeat Azazel. Outside the temple, Jin admits that the reason he started the wars was to awaken Azazel and destroy him. By doing this, he would free himself from the devil gene in his body. It's also revealed that Azazel can only be defeated by someone who has the devil gene. Jin attacks and destroys Azazel, and they are both sent flying into the desert. Raven unearths Jin's body and discovers that the devil mark remained on his arm. In Tekken 7, the war between the Mishima Zaibatsu and G Corporation continues to rage and negatively affect the world. Nina Williams leads the Zaibatsu in Jin's absence, attempting to locate him. Heihachi uses this opportunity to regain control. Once Heihachi reclaimed the throne, he set in motion a plan to shift public opinion to the Zaibatsu's favor. With the help of Claudio Serafino, the leader of a powerful exorcist group, Heihachi schemed to expose Kazuya, and specifically his devil gene, to the world. After a series of events, Heihachi captures and spreads images of a transformed Kazuya worldwide. He then destroys G Corporation's Millennium Tower with a satellite laser weapon. Kazuya survived the blast and destroyed the orbital weapon. The falling wreckage wiped out an entire town and damaged the Zaibatsu's reputation once again. Behind closed doors, Heihachi shared some of the details from his past with a reporter. It turns out that Kazuya's mother was sent by her family to kill Heihachi, and that she possessed the devil gene. He killed her in self-defense and suspected that Kazuya possessed the devil gene as well, which is why he threw him off the cliff all those years ago. He believed if Kazuya survived, it would confirm his fear. Heihachi then headed to his final showdown with Kazuya in an active volcano. In the battle, a vengeful Kazuya defeated and finally killed Heihachi Mishima. Throwing his body into the volcano.
戦いとは最後にどちらが立っているか、それだけだ。
Instead of ending the war, Kazuya's rule continues the chaos and destruction. Jin recovers and vows to end the war once and for all by defeating Kazuya. And with that, you're all up to speed just in time for Tekken 8. I hope you enjoyed the video and are just as excited about this new Tekken entry as I am. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give us a like or subscribe to support the channel. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.